Hello and welcome to the Nwins Motors YouTube channel, and quite possibly the Total Kitcar YouTube channel. We do a lot of things that we share, and this particular series is loosely related to the History File series that we've done in collaboration with TotalKitcar.com. Now, what Steve did with the history file was to look at marks and individual models from the kit cars past. But what I'm aiming to do with this series is to cover some of the cars that shone very, very brightly for a very, very short time, looked like something might happen, and then disappeared almost as soon as they arrived. If you like, the nearlies, the wannabes, the possibles, the ones that maybe deserved a little bit more, or the ones that you're in no doubt as soon as you see them why they didn't go any further. But we'll call these one-hit wonders, or as I call them, these are the Kitcar shorts. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Kitcar shorts. On behalf of both Nwins Motors YouTube channel and the TKC Mag YouTube channel that will also be sharing this series. The idea of this is as said in the titles, to show cars that were sold in relatively small numbers or flash in the pans. I think although this car did sell in numbers, it definitely deserves to be featured here, and I'll explain why later, because it did sort of set a set of dominoes in motion. The guy behind the Panache was a guy called Paul Lawrenson. Remember the name. It will come up a few times in the future. And he built this in 1978. He then created a second set of moulds and started producing them commercially with business partner Peter Robinson. Now, as was the case with the Nova and the Avanti and other exotics of the time, it used a standard Volkswagen Beetle floorpan. From the rear, you could say it was fairly convincing as a Countach. The front deviated quite a bit. It had a very wedgy front. The roof would hinge up, which wasn't necessarily a bad idea, to be fair. It was, how can I put it, reputedly quite difficult to build. And the Panache kit cars went in this form from 1983 to 87, and approximately 2 were made in this format, so it wasn't that successful. Paul then came back to it with the Panache LP400. The LP400 obviously being a variety of Countach, so that's obviously what he was aiming at with this, and it was a big improvement on the original. And Paul Lawrenson sold the company to Bob Davis, and the production version of the LP400 was a big improvement. It had a front end inspired by a Japanese dome supercar, apparently. Lawrenson also produced a revised chassis to accommodate Rover V8 engines, although it's unknown if any featured this. The car was memorably described by the manufacturer as the most exotic and futuristic component car available. I think Nova would have had something to say about that, personally. Sadly, Bob Davies passed away in 2015. Approximately 71 kits in all were made, which is quite astounding, because that presumably means that the LP400 was a seller. And I suppose in the early 80s, if you couldn't get hold of a genuinely capable alternative to a supercar, this gave you exotic looks on a budget. And that's the best I could possibly really say for it. However, Paul Lawrenson and his partner Peter Robinson were to go on to develop other Countach attempts down the line. Somebody, and I'm not going to go into names because it's one of the Kitcar folklores, took moulds off a genuine Countach that was hired for a weekend from a supercar hire company, and they took moulds off it and they returned it complete with some additional plasticine that was used in taking the moulds off the original car. That car was advertised as a Beetle based thing called the Venom that was going to get a chassis at a later date. A lot of promises were made. I think Paul Lawrenson was involved in that, and that disappeared. But he came back for a second bite of the cherry and created the Prova again with his partner Peter Robinson. So, yeah, you could say that the Panache set the ball rolling for what was to follow. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please click on the like, which is the thumbs up, and whilst you're at it, click on the bell and click on all, because then you'll find out when the next videos come along. And whilst you're at it, pop over to the TKC Mag YouTube channel and do the same there, and you'll find there are other videos of a different variety over there than there are on our channel, and vice versa. If you're on the TKC channel, please do come over and take a look at the Enwins Motors YouTube channel. There are very slight differences in the things that you will find. There's a lot more specialist cars and rally cars on the Enwins Motors channel, and it is obviously majority kit cars on the TKC one. If you've got a car that you think fits in with this, or you would like to have featured, and you have photographs, and preferably if it's on the road, do send us an email, and you can contact me at enwinsseats@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. Do keep subscribe to the channel, because you will see more of these, and there are other videos coming as well. So take care, one and all, and thank you for listening.